There are many ways to converse poorly, apart from competitive one-upmanship. That's just one example. I know a lot of people in my line of work who really command verbal attention, but they're not actually any good at conversing. They're raconteurs, they're monologists, excellent at talking, entertaining, descriptive, capable of shaping an elegant narrative out of any topic, but essentially deaf when not holding the floor. Many actors fall into this category, people who cease to exist when the spotlight is off them, or whose eyes glaze over when the subject of conversation is not them. Another way to blow conversation is the chatter, the mindless gossip that Thomas à Kempis refers to in the reading. Throwing up a barrage of common sense actually blocks intimacy. What Seinfeld called the yada yada. My daughter's recent 13th birthday sleepover springs to mind. Anything for them, it seems, anything other than companionable silence. That mark, by the way, of the deepest trust and the best mutual regard. She is living proof that there's some value in just the social interaction of conversation, not necessarily in the content. So it seems to me, at least, that one of the tricks to good conversation is, paradoxically, the ability or willingness to listen. Recently, I discovered this nearly century-year-old book called The Art of Conversation by one Milton Wright, B.A., B.S., and almost certainly a Rotarian after-dinner speaker. I found it oddly touching that in 1936 he was saying things like this. Get this. Don't talk too long without pausing for reaction. 40 seconds is ideal. Don't be too forceful or emphatic in stating your opinions until you learn the other person's attitude. Give the other person intellectual freedom and claim them for yourself. Milton Wright insists the ability to talk well can be cultivated. And one of the themes running through the tract is this: allow for silence. Listen to the other to get to know them. Then you might reveal yourself as well. What elegantly simple mutuality. Conversation not only has to do with how well one talks, but how well one listens. The spiritual teacher Ram Dass, drawing from Tibetan Buddhism, describes what he calls the listening mind, which can be cultivated by practice. He says, as we learn to listen with a quiet mind, there is so much to hear. Inside ourselves, we can begin to hear that still small voice, as the Quakers call it, the voice of our intuitive heart, drowned out by the noisy thinking mind. We hear our skills and needs, our subtle intentions, our limits, our innate generosity. In other people, we can hear what they really require, what license they are actually giving us to help, what potential there is for change. We can hear their strengths and their pain. We hear what support is available, what obstacles must be overcome. Most of us know how supportive it is merely to be in the presence of a mind that is open, quiet, playful, receptive, and reflective. Well, how may we experience this state of the listening mind? I try to do it when I talk up here, allowing occasional lapses to pick up the information in the room coming back to me. But we all do it every service during our time of silence, reflection, prayer, and meditation. Or we also do it in the lapses after a joy or concern is shared. To me, this is the sweetest part of the service, mainly because I've not written it. And second, because it is eloquent in ways words aren't. The sound of birds, the sound of fans, the threshing of trees, voices from farther rooms, the breathing of souls around us. This is so rare and precious. It can only be experienced by truly kindred spirits, the companionable silence, that mark of right relationship where we let everyone else just be who they are and have the thoughts they have. In such silence, and not necessarily in words, is where a truly sacred healing experience lives. In such silence, we are met as one. We have no expectations and are negotiating the meaning of no one else's words. That receptive quality of listening and being is the ground for me of good conversation based upon mutual respect, open expression, and the opportunity for big talk in a state of acceptance and freedom. This, my friends, is what I think we should be about. Papa, Mama, don't preach. Just get us talking. Now, don't get me wrong. Framing sweet and useful words is hard work. And just as hard as that is, listening is harder still. But it seems to me an essential way of shaping good conversation and thus right relationship with others. For again, all our social relations come down to a series of conversations. And so, to close, I pose a tentative answer to the question of what a Unitarian address can be. I suggest it can prompt good conversation, grounded in listening, with like-minded people, for the delight and the use of all of us who gather in this way. May our ongoing conversation grow, deepen, and nourish all of us met here, preacher, minister, congregants, all. Amen.